everyone, this is the introduction to our Musical Worlds Book 4. The title is American Musical Creativity, the History and Legacy of Pain and Triumph. We're going to look into some of the conflicting, emotional and exhilarating dynamics that contributed to what we call the Americas. Particularly fascinating in studying the music and cultures from the earliest settlers or colonizers to the shores of the America, from Plymouth Rock, Ellis Island, to Boston, and later Philadelphia, on to Detroit, Chicago, down to Memphis, New Orleans, and finally out west. What we found is that to a large extent, American history and the dynamics of cultural evolution and exchange, and yes, both pain and prejudice, also resulted in among the most incredible mixing of cultures and triumphant creativity in our world today. Therefore, to study the Americas is to a considerable degree a study of our world. First, from the indigenous cultures that had lived and occupied the Americas for millennia prior to the arrival of the colonizers, most cultures have ancient or indigenous ancestry. From Christopher Columbus' expedition in 1492 until well into the 20th century, the colonizers poured into the Americas, all of the Americas, North, Central, Caribbean, and South. Many of these colonist groups came to the Americas desiring religious freedom. Regrettably, the main thing they knew from their own long histories of imperialism were that the expansion of wealth, property, equated to power. Consequently, this led to the demise and destruction of other communities. By forging new empires, they also expanded the belief of cultural superiority, which was backed by an emphasis of science and technology, military armaments, and capital economics. Unfortunately, they also invented and fortified hierarchies based on the perceptions of race, and used these stratas for the sole interest of increasing personal wealth. This history led to slavery, the uprooting and transportation of generations of families and communities to the Americas to serve as laborers and as a method for increasing wealth and comfort to the colonizers. Due to these actions, unfortunately today, we have in much of the world what we know as racism. This is the painful part of history that must not be overlooked, underappreciated, and kept invisible. Because in doing so, generations of those previously called colored or foreign will not have equal access to what should be the birthright of all: mutual respect and the capacity to fulfill their potential without undue hardship. But since music is simply the window for us to learn honestly and without bias about our planet, we must always seek a balance between honest scrutiny of greed, injustice, and persecution, with an understanding of other important perspectives. For example, there were many other groups that were persecuted besides the indigenous and African populations. The Polish, Acadian French, and especially the Irish were just some of the groups that also suffered hardship both at home and in the Americas. All these groups that suffered the most were now required to heal and find dignity and balance. Here's where music comes in. What better way to find balance than to sing, dance, and pray through music? We will find that spirituals and gospel music or musical prayer and song are the backbone of American creativity. And the creativity does not stop there. Just as in all cultures, the music of religion and the churches in the Americas would mingle with expressions of truth and honesty, such as the blues, jazz, Irish and Scottish jigs and reels, or in New Orleans, a Creole culture much like my own in the Seychelles Islands. French, African, Native American, Irish, Scottish, Caribbean cultures and music all blended to create jazz. Later, the rhythm section and drum set. And finally, the ticket to much of our world's modern music was stamped for all to relish. We will not underrepresent the need to see and teach the impact of racism, human greed, and perceptions of superiority on our world today. But neither can we lose sight of the incredible resilience, honesty, truth, and amazing creativity that has resulted from the cultural DNA that is America. It is truly our hope that you will enjoy a multifaceted look at the evolution of a fascinating history and the evolution of American musical creativity.